Hi everyone. Well, today we're going to do a come prime with me. So let's go to myMiniFactory and have a look what my tribe's got in this week. Well, Papsikel, I don't know how to do it. He does loads of, or she does loads of sci-fi type of models. It never talks about what the properties are, but if you look really closely, you might recognize some people that you know. If you're in their tribe, you do get tons of stuff every month. And this one really caught my eye. I don't know what film or franchise it's out of, but it has a Space 1999 look about it. So here it is, straight off my resin printer, just taking off all of the supports here. And let's just pop it together and see how it fits. It fits really well, actually. I'll just get rid of some of the sides which the supports are on. But look, it's a really lovely model here. This isn't glued together yet. It's got some printing lines on it. We have to look really closely at it. So let's do a come prime with me and paint this together. I think I'm going to go for like a NATO greeny sort of look. So I'll use the green that I always use on all of these videos. Can't remember what it's called. That was it. So let's start with some of this and give it a once over. I'm using this green as a primer as well. It's quite difficult to get into these little lines, these deep crevices. I'm actually using a makeup brush for this, which was a cheap way of buying a lot of brushes. And I'm leaving a gap, you see, at the bottom so that I can glue these together when I've got most of it painted. But I was worried about whether you could see some of the insides when it was pushed together. I wouldn't be able to paint them, so I thought I'd do some of it there. So I'm going over the bulk of this as if it's a primer coat with this green. Trying to get into some of the little crevices there. Maybe not go all the way into the undercarriage. I've got some other ideas for that. But now let's come to the front bit where the driver sits. You notice there's some little holes in that. When you do a resin print, you can make them hollow, and because of that you need to allow some air holes to let the liquid resin drain out and the wash to drain out as well. So I was a bit over enthusiastic on this one, and the holes are a bit big, so I'll have to sort those out. Alright, that's going together fine. Let's clean up a bit, have a quick look at it. And again, I put an extra bit of paint on that. I think this was the second coat. I didn't film this bit, but it's beginning to look nice. Oh, as is my arm. No, let's not paint it anymore. Right, now what? Super glue. Okay, I'm using this Mitre Bond, this adhesive, and I'm using this, it's quite thick, so it's not going to run everywhere. Just I think it was blocked there, so that's what that extra bit is. So I've unblocked it, squidge bits there, there's that docking mechanism, there we go, that goes in. Make sure it was on the desk so that the wheels were level, and then do a couple of extra bits there. Now I only noticed when I was watching this on the edit that I've not aligned this very well, but it doesn't really show when you're looking at it. But yeah, slightly too much to the right. Okay, let's do something about these holes now. Get some styrofoam, cut them out on my cutting mat. Oh, bother, I cut my cutting mat. And does it fit? Yeah. Let's give it a bit of sanding on my sanding block. Hey, I could have used the rubber on this, couldn't I, and cleaned it up a little bit. But I didn't. I'm trying to chamfer the edges on this a little bit so it's more like a plate panel that's on there. So those holes aren't Papsikel's problem, they're my problem. I was a bit over enthusiastic. But anyway, let's stick this on. I'm going to use tweezers so I don't stick Spidermaf onto the front of this cargo carrier as well. And give it a lick of paint. Alright, some lead belcher now. I'm going to use this mostly for the metal bits, but I was also thinking, what would you do on a sci-fi vehicle with the windscreen if you wanted to make it pretty robust. Anyway, I'm going into some of the bits I want metal. I'm being very not careful on the underside, being a bit more careful here. I'm hoping it's sort of some kind of semi-transparent aluminium that the driver can look through and be protected in as well. Here are the wheel rims and some other bits of metal and some of the undercarriage as well. I'm being very haphazard with this, just going into the metal bits, not really paying too much care and attention to it. Still that same makeup brush, but I am looking for the things that I think might be metal as opposed to the side windscreens. Okay, that looks all right. So now I'm going to go over with the green again and be a bit more careful. I should really have been using a thinner brush here, but I'm just muddling through it. So where I went over with the metallic paint, I'm just going over it again with the paint. A bit like maybe if it was a real utility truck, every so often the people would just slap paint over it and not really care, and there'd be some bits which were dented and bashed and other bits not. So I'm looking at the panels where I think people might have tried and painted it and just go over that there. Look at that. I think it needs to be muddied up on the underside. Also, I did the open cargo thing at the back, which was very useful to stick my fingers in and hold it while I was painting this. And again, these bits, I think, well, the bits that stick out might be rubbed off metal, but the other bit was painted. I'm going to go over this again to see there's some scrapes and brush strokes on the top of that, so I'm just keep on working on this and go over it a few more times. Would have been better if I'd have sprayed it, but I decided to just use the brush on this one. Okay, time for some mahogany brown. Villager model colour again. And I'm going to use this to muddy up the underside a bit. So everywhere where I think mud might splatter or there's an oily, dirty look, I'm going in there, just putting some mud on. And I do, on occasions, wipe some of this off as well, and I change the water density of it. There you go, on the wheels, I just wiped a bit off. And then do a bit of a spray up where the mud might spray on the side of a lorry as it was going through the fields, maybe. Just going anywhere really, not really any rhyme or reason. Now that is looking nice and rusty now. I hope it is anyway. Okay, now I'm going to use a wash, and this Vallejo wash, yes, it is for green vehicles. So I discovered this, so this is the first time I've really used it, so here we go. Let's just belt some of this wash on. Wash always gets away from me, so I don't mix this on my normal palette. I normally use a little pot to put it in, squirt some in and then go on with it, but I was being a bit over enthusiastic again with this, so it was getting all bubbly. That's alright. What I'll do is, once I've got wash on most of it, I'm going to dry the brush a bit and then go over it, and it will pick up some of the excess. Like here we go, pick up some of the excess wash that's on there, and make it a little bit more realistic. I was hoping it'd go all the way into those little holes on the canvas top, but it didn't really pull in there for some reason. Maybe the Vallejo wash isn't compatible with the Vallejo green paint, I don't know. Right, some dark grey. I'm going to use this for the tyres, the rubber on the tyres. Again, it looks more like dark blue. I must stop going on about that. Oh, and I must remember to paint the inside of that as well. I think I never did that. I think it still might not be painted. But yeah, the tyres are a bit fiddly around the outside, trying not to get the thing on the rims. The front tyres are different than the back tyres, and this bit was hard because there's no wheel arch that it goes into here. So I was having to be really careful not to get it on the panels. So this wouldn't actually work as a model, bit that needs changing there. And I'm virtually at the end of it now, I think. So hope you enjoyed this, another Come Prime with me, just me really relaxing, painting a model that I liked the look of it. So if you like the look of this, would you please subscribe, or maybe just give it a thumbs up. So here we go for the rocking music and the beauty shots.